Obviously, it sounds like you're not satisfied with that. Is that something that...
No, I am. I mean, if I had to do it again, I would probably try to be a bit more consistent in tone. When Woody Harrelson came to the set, he was so much fun, and he brought so much that I allowed myself to indulge. And you should see the stuff I had to cut because it was too indulgent. But we sort of had fun. It was like a break, and I knew that I wanted the script to get crazier and crazier. The Buddhist monastery, Woody, all that stuff. So that was planned and intentional, and I'll own that. But I probably would try to refine the humor a little bit and make it, because this goes to dramatic moments and it goes to high comedy, and I would try to just probably do it a little bit less. Yes, sir.
Just which pat on the butt resulted in the R rating? Was this first or second?
Which one got the R? It's funny. The R is if you say fuck twice, you get an R, or more than twice. So that was really, and we had like 4, and so it wasn't the butt. The poster we're dealing with the poster right now, and we have a poster in which Jen and Steve are sitting there with their backs turned. And he's got his hand on her butt, and they won't let us do it. And I'm like, for that kind of movie, and the poster, and it's shocking to me when I see the types of violence, the types of sexuality. They won't let his hand on her butt, so our poster is literally going to have his hand near approaching her butt, and it's going to be called an almost touching comedy. But the MPA is very serious, and the Steve smoking was an issue. I think we got in under the grandfather clause of that. You now can't have smoking. Well, we were R-rated, but if we wanted to be PG-13. Yes?
I was just curious, how did you get Jennifer Aniston to be a part of the film?
How did we get Jennifer to be in the film? The script was sent out to, it sort of got a producer, and he sent it out to agents, and agents started reading it, and it kind of got passed around because in its original form it was very quirky and weird, and Jennifer's agent said to me, I was thought that the male part was bigger, and I was looking for a guy first to cast. And we were at CAA, which is the big agency out there, and the guy turns to me, Jennifer's agent, and we were talking about different names. He's like, well, I'd like to give it to Jen. I've already described it to her, but you'd have to offer it to her. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't sure that was the right choice, and I wanted to do the guy first, so I held off. And then I was going back to Los Angeles a couple of weeks later, and he said, well, you know what, I gave it to Jen, she loved it, she wants to meet with you, but if you meet with her, you have to give her the part, if she wants it. And, which is a typical, it has nothing to do with Jen, it's an agent move. So it was a little bit like, well, why did you give it to her? I can't like turn down a meeting with Jennifer now. And so I nervously went out there, and I was like, well, if we both hate each other, can we get out of it, He's like, yeah. And I went out there, and it was a really lovely meeting. She has done indie movies before. She wanted to do one where, as I said, she didn't look as glamorous. And we sort of hit it off right off the bat. So it was great, and it allowed us to cast Steve Zahn. Steve was the guy I had my eye on. And, we talked about a lot of other leading men, but you don't want a guy who's too good looking in this part. And Steve had comedy and drama, and he has an incredible range as an actor. He's a New York City trained actor kind of guy. So having Jen allowed us to be a little more flexible, casting the guy. Yeah, in the back. Yes, I had, and that gave me great hope. And in fact, the night before I was going to Los Angeles to meet her, I re-rented that movie. I rented The Breakup again, and in The Breakup, actually, she has some really beautiful scenes at the end. She really shows some vulnerability. So I sort of knew she had it in her. And it was a matter of whether she wanted to go there again. She's really quite, obviously a thoughtful, sensitive person, and she has a career that can do many things. So I was glad she wanted to go for it with this film.